welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in and watching today. We have a bit of a weird video. We're coming at you sort of uh, as the news came out, specifically the news for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It released earlier today in New Zealand in early access. Um, and there's actually been a lot of big news as you can see up on the screen. But before we jump into it, uh, here with Jam. How you doing today, Jam?
All right. I'm all right. I was aware of this earlier too, and I figured you'd want to talk about
Yeah, it came across actually like in a 7 a.m. message from my brother who had saw it before I did, so I didn't see it till about 7:30. And it was actually pretty. I don't want to say pretty expected in my opinion, but I honestly feel that it's not surprising, with the state of AAA games today. Just to jump into it, uh, an hour after the timed rollout, so the way the game was going to roll out was at midnight, uh, 12 a.m. January 29th, in your time zone, the game was going to open up for you to play. So the rollout was scheduled to start, uh, I guess, well, I'll say it started in New Zealand at least, one of the first countries to get access to the game.
this is the
Um,
early access, right?
this is early access for the game.
Yeah.
And so to get the early access, you had to do the deluxe edition, and we'll get into that a little bit down the line. But it seems like about an hour after the launch in New Zealand, um, the game had to be brought down for maintenance. And it was a really weird bug, and it has, in my personal opinion, everything to do with the always online uh, of the game, which is to me weird because it seems more like a co-op kind of game, not like an MMO style game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you can only play the game in online mode was really uh, a a bad thing, at least for the launch of this game. But we do have a message from the Suicide Squad on Twitter, the Suicide Squad dev team on Twitter, where it says, "We're aware of a number of players are currently experiencing an issue whereby upon logging into the game for the first time, they have full story completion." And this is like a bug I've never seen before, which is really weird because
Yeah.
mostly
It's a
the
first.
bugs don't let you play the game.
Yeah.
And I guess
No,
in
this
this
this let
case,
you. Well, in the same case, I mean, it doesn't let you play the game because you've already beat it.
yeah, there's nothing to do. Saved you time, you know? um, but it's really weird because it's not too surprising to see bugs pop up in AAA titles nowadays at launch. This is a game by Warner Brothers and Rocksteady Games, which you're familiar with. Um, and to give a little bit of background on this game, so the Suicide Squad uh, is sort of like a, a work release program, I guess, in the DC universe where they're sent out to do missions to take time off of their sentences for all the bad shit they've done. The game takes place in the Batman uh, Arkham universe.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. I think you. I want to say. You tell me it was like 5 years later after the last Arkham game.
Yeah, it's about 5 years after. So some time has passed from the end of Night. Let me show you a little clip of the streamer on YouTube. His channel is Riot Game Riot. Sorry, I don't know why I said Riot Games. Do you have League of Legends on the brain? But Game Riot is the YouTube channel, and let's do this real
Right
quick.
away. So do I already have like a currency already? Straight into the
So
action,
he's super excited for this.
I
Watch,
guess.
like
Yeah.
he is so excited.
Why
I've
am I
never.
so nervous? Why am I so nervous?
Dude, this guy's excited for the game. I feel
Uh,
so
no,
bad. I
so
feel so
it
bad
comes out
for his
midnight
reaction.
wherever you're based. So I happen to be a New Zealander. What? Eh?
Yeah, dude. So if you look at his armor, he's decked out. They're all decked
Hello.
out.
Always got new jobs for you. Colonel Flag never lets up.
Yeah, and he goes on
Huh?
and he signs out and signs back in to the game
What?
to sort of see like
No, this
what's
has to be
going on
wrong.
because he honestly is he
What
thinks it
the
might
hell
be
just
He's
some sort of
happened?
weird glitch.
That's
Yeah.
is that honestly what
Uh,
happens? You just no. Actually, I had to restart this. This that cannot be the start of the game. Did I press the wrong option? What the hell just happened there? What?
I think he's starting to like it's starting to sink in like
What just
there's a
happened?
problem with this
It just
game.
literally threw me. What was that? Please, that cannot be the start of the game. Oh my god, please. I must have pressed the wrong button.
It's not even AAA games. I think it's more like the how you mentioned it's the online any of these games that kind of are based off of online only. In this case, this one's kind of it reminds me of, at least from what it sounds like, it reminds me of Arkham Knights and the way that one played, where you're playing, co-op type missions, and you're doing, I don't know, if is it multiplayer, like you're actually playing against other people, or is it you're just
No,
doing
it's
missions with other
co-op. It
people
was
online?
co-op multiplayer.
Co-op multiplayer, yeah. So like
Yeah,
Arkham Knights, right?
yeah.
Or that what was that game? The Avengers game that came out not too long ago.
I know which one exact the Marvel Avengers
Yeah, and
or the Ultimate
it's almost like
Avengers.
the Suicide Squad. The squad themselves is probably the biggest draw, and the characters, and then the recent movie was pretty awesome. If people haven't seen that one on HBO,
Yeah.
um, I'm not saying the first one, you know, David Ayer came out and was like this, they completely ruined my movie, and who knows, maybe they did. Um, but it wasn't, to me, just wasn't that great. The second one, was a whole lot better. James Gunn came out and to me is probably one of the better DC movies, if not the best that's come out.
I
Um,
I liked the first one. It could have been better, but I liked the first one.
the first one, I don't know, man. Like I try to be, give it some kind of credit, man, and then I watch back and I'm like, no, it's just not good. It's just not good at all. The characters were pretty bland to me. I mean, I don't know. They just didn't. It just didn't hit. It just didn't hit for me. And that's tough to say because I do like the concept of the Suicide Squad and the story themselves. Um, Having trouble remembering the name of the animated one, where I think they were in Arkham too. It was a recent one, Attack on Arkham or something like that. I can't remember. There was an animated film that came out with Suicide Squad that was actually pretty awesome. And then this movie came out, and I had high hopes for it, and of course the Jared Leto thing and all that,
Yeah,
and it
that
just
that really did it for me. So I mean, yeah.
yeah,
So you'd think with like a game with such a big draw, a franchise with such a big draw, the power of Warner Brothers themselves behind it, you'd think that they would at least, you know, not infect your game with. I'm sure it's a developer playthrough save that uh was loaded on there. So it's as much as you said it's not really the AAA but more the online. That to me is a little scary because you have so many big franchises releasing games soon. Rockstar Games releasing uh Grand Theft Auto 6 next year. So it leads you to think of, all these future titles where people are going to be investing, not 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 like investment groups, but like millions of people are going to be buying these games, and this thing just keeps happening. And it honestly it feels like either A, the publishers don't care, or B, the studios that are developing these games are just so either understaffed or,
probably a
the
big part of
company
it.
itself is not ready to take on a project of this size. So to me it really puts the whole gaming scene in this weird space where it's like we we
We want
kind
these
of
games, but we don't want them like this.
yeah, like we don't know whether to keep supporting you. So which is I've bought a lot more independent games as of recent. And I've had a better time with these games where it's like a really small studio and they're just focusing on the one project, and they know their limits, and so they're able to just build the game that they're trying. And even though they're I'm not saying they're bug free or there's absolutely zero issues with any of the games, because nothing's perfect. But it seems that that's where the gaming community should start steering towards, the little indie studios, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that it's the whole. I think it does have a great amount to do with understaffed developing teams because they pushed back this game quite a bit. I know they pushed it back at least a couple times, and the release of it because it just wasn't going to be ready, and I had high hopes for this game because I really want this game to be good. And then on top of that, Rocksteady, with the Arkham series, that's probably one of the best series to come out as far as the AAA game goes. And to me, they kind of knocked that Batman series, the Arkham series, out of the ballpark. And then you had this one, so I had high hopes for this one. And then there was little signs like you said here and there that kind of made you feel like, okay, there's going to be some issues here. I know that there was a thing with a lot of reviewers, Game Informer, a lot of these big reviewers that were not allowed to review the game ahead of time, which normally they're kind of allowed to do. They're getting sent codes for the game to be able to test it out, play it, and then have reviews ready for upon release day. And it seemed like the company did not want that to happen. Like they did not want those reviews to come out. Maybe they wanted people to actually buy the game, and then see those reviews, which you can make your own decisions as to what why they might have done it that way or set it up that way. But um, to me, those kinds of things are pretty telling as to where the state of this game was before release. They probably knew that there was going to be some bad press, and then this is probably like the last thing they needed was to have a game breaking bug that happened that forced the servers to go, like they had to put the servers down. They couldn't do anything about it. And at least I guess it happened on early access, but it's terrible if you actually paid that much money extra to get access to the game early, and that was the main reason for that.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's the thing, man. That's the other part of it. We're heading in this direction where this game was $70. Let me show you. You can see here at the bottom it says $70 in the bottom corner. So that's for the base game.
yeah,
Now, you wanna order the deluxe, that's $100, dude. People paid $100, and they weren't able to get their early access, or the servers are up now, but they lost time. People who were like excited for it, you know, they were like crushed by it, and all for a couple bucks. I mean, honestly, as somebody who likes other big franchises like the Darksiders and stuff, if the studio came out and said, "Hey, man, we know we've delayed this a lot. We know this is not what you guys want, but we found an issue. Give us another day or two, and give us another month. Let us push back the release, and then that way we know that we're not launching with issues. We're not launching with game breaking bugs or pre-saved game files, which I'm sure this is what it is. It's probably just a pre-saved game file. Instead, they come out and they make comments like the CEO of Rockstar, where he's like, well, PC players don't want to pay full price for the game. I mean, here it is. I mean, it's happening. This is why, people are starting to turn on these big studios. And it honestly, if it feels expected, and I'm kind of surprised it hadn't happened sooner.
yeah. I mean, this is a new one though. That the game is complete. I could just imagine, and he had the best reaction where he was just confused. He's like, wait a second, this can't be how the games.
Yeah,
Um, but you know what? Uh, I'm hoping that it's fixed by you said the server's already back up.
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, if they're back up and they're working now, yeah, that's terrible. And so you had some hours spent, and hopefully they get compensated in some kind of way. Give them some. I don't know if there's some in-game currency or give them something, man. For the people
Yeah.
that actually come out and say, hey, this happened to me. and then hook them up, hook them up. It's why is it that difficult? They actually paid that much for the extra anyway, so to me it
It's
only makes sense. But
it's a sign of
uh,
good faith, like
yeah,
saying
yeah,
like,
one hundred
hey,
percent.
we understand we messed up. It's not just like saying, hey, there's a problem. Because that's honestly this post I saw. It says, hey, there's a problem. We're gonna do
Yeah,
maintenance on the game, and we'll bring it right back. Don't worry about it. That's that's crowd control. That's not saying
yeah,
like, hey man, we're sorry we messed up. You know, going forward, trust that we'll do everything we can to make your experience more enjoyable. And yeah, a little thank you like had me out doesn't feel so bad. Sometimes it even makes you feel like, hey, okay, I'm being seen and I'm being heard.
yeah. Little just in this specific case though, to me, because you paid the extra to get early access, and they know it as much as anybody because they're all about it too. But time is money,
Yeah.
and if I'm paying this much for the early access and I can't access it, that's a major problem. So you got to compensate me in some kind of way. I
Yeah,
know, maybe to say like, oh, well, you're gonna get the game for free, we're gonna refund you, and you can still have access. I mean,
I think that'd
I
be a
don't know
little too
about
much.
that. Yeah, that might be a bit too much, but at least get some in-game credit, especially if you're gonna play it. And these are people that obviously want to play it since they ordered it ahead of time. To me, it only makes sense. Will they do that? I don't know, man. It's hard to assume that about any kind of AAA company nowadays.
This service should be back up. Hopefully, they don't hit other big road stops like this. And people keep enjoying the game.
I am gonna
Even
play
for
it just because I really have nothing to play right now. But like at the same rate, like yeah, again, we talked about Battlefront, not too a couple of casts ago, and to me, it's probably not going to have that much of an issue. That this is we're talking about Suicide Squad fandom versus Star Wars fandom, but these kinds of games when they come out, you just want them to at least function. But when you're talking about AAA, I'm thinking about, well, what's a recent? I played Spider Man, and that was flawless, but that was also a single game
yeah,
player that you're just playing through the story, and that's honestly why I also like the game, and going that route every so often. You play the games like COD and some of the Apex and all them, and you're dealing with all kinds of stuff, whether it be bugs, whether it be glitches, whether it be hackers
cheaters.
or cheaters. Yep, all that, and it kind of puts you in a negative mentality towards some of these games, and it's nice to have that change of pace to play a single player game where you're just playing it, and especially if it's a good game like the recent Spider-Man one, uh, you know, it's a nice change of pace. And then you have a game like this where and I played the Arkham Knight game, and the Arkham Knight game, it was fun, but that's the one thing I worry about with this game specifically is because I played also the Avengers game, and the Avengers game, I mean, no offense I mean, it looked beautiful, but it it got old real quick. You know what I mean? Like it was only so much you could do with your friends to where, it just felt like I was doing the same thing over and it felt very repetitive. And I'm hoping this doesn't fall victim to the same thing. I don't see that's to me, if you're going to do a game like this, that's going to be the biggest challenge is how do you keep it fresh? Because
Yeah,
these games, like I said, it can often feel like it's very repetitive and you're just doing the same thing. And the one thing that's carrying through it is if you happen to be playing with friends on top of that.
yeah, that's a big bonus
But if you don't
to.
have that, if you don't have that, I mean, how long are they going to hold your attention for? Before you're just like, okay, I did it. I did all the characters. I've done the thing with all of them. What now? And so it'll be interesting to see what they do with this game. And I kind of have an idea of what it was supposed to be, but hopefully the story is actually. Do you know as far as how long that story is or how it's supposed to be?
I don't
Oh,
know, but I'm sure you're gonna go from. It's gonna be one of those games where you go from boss to boss, so it would be pretty long, especially if you have to like grind in between each boss.
yeah. If there's a way that they can keep your attention for as long as
Yeah.
possible. I know they mentioned the battle pass thing, right? Which is interesting for a game like this to have a battle pass. I don't think we have it. I don't even know if I've ever seen that before.
A game
You know,
like this, no, but I've heard
cosmetics.
good things about the battle passes, specifically that it's gonna be like the Halo Infinite battle pass, where once you buy it, you have it forever, and you can come back to it later whenever you want. So
Yeah,
that I think
I did
that's
hear that.
that's a better model at least. So it's not like, oh, I paid $10 and I didn't get shit. You know?
They also supposedly said that nothing about those battle passes is pay to win or going to get you and put you in more advantageous position than someone who
Yeah.
doesn't. It's just pretty much cosmetics. But
Cosmetics.
if you put the work in the cosmetics, then it's the money
It's
will
worth it.
come.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Yeah, but we'll see when this game comes out. I don't know if I'm going to do the pre-order thing, but it's just because I've been scorned myself over and over and over again, and to a certain point where it's like, when am I gonna learn that these games are not, they're just not gonna be released complete. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna happen unless it, like you said, it's like an indie game or the type of company that's just tried and proven, like Rockstar, for example. Like, you saw that trailer, and I don't know if this happens for them too. And I get it, like if they run into some sort of issues with the multiplayer, because that's a big undertaking what they're doing with the multiplayer. And but if I have a feeling there's certain companies that are just like Rockstar that just they've been through it so much that they're just more, they got the experience and they know what they're looking at in terms of when the release happens, but they're also better at prepping for the releases of these games. And so I know Rocksteady. I don't know what other multiplayers they worked on, or at least that are on this scale. And if this is the first one, then you're really not. This kind of stuff was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So, but yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Short video today, but thank you for tuning in. If you are interested in the game, it releases February 2nd. And Lewis, if you do pick it up and you wanna, we can do a review video of it later. Let the people know what you liked about it, what you didn't, if it was worth
Yeah,
buying.
I will let y'all know. I will let y'all know if it's something that's going to be done in a month, or if it's something that you can actually, you might be playing for months to come. But we'll see come February 2nd. I'll definitely play it.
All right. All right. So we'll just leave you with peace.
Peace.